What's up? Welcome to the AV Club. My guest today is a super interesting cat. His name is Campbell. But when he's in the booth or in the studio, he goes by Prosecute. Don't call him anything else but Prosecute. He's a DJ. He's a music artist. He's an ex-music hip-hop manager. He's done a lot of interesting things, a lot of cool things that you wouldn't expect such a young person to have done already in their life. He's got a lot left to go, a lot more ambitions, and it's really cool to see him dive into his story and just get passionate about music and all the things he's done, really, and his perspective on those things now. And it was a great talk, great conversation. So hope you guys enjoy it. What's up, man? We've been neighbors for a couple months now. We haven't really hung out much, but dude, I think it was like the first day we moved in, or the second day, you were like, dude, come in the house, check out my studio.
So my girlfriend and I were actually really, it's like that anxiety that you get when you move in somewhere. You're like, oh, my neighbor's gonna be cool, or is this gonna be like an issue? Or because like I hear y'all like working out and shit, and like we want to play like music, and I don't know. You always worry if you're gonna have like stiflers as fucking neighbors or not, so we were like, because we were probably in here for like a week before y'all got in here.
Dang.
And we looking at our blinds and shit and trying to like, I don't know, just like stalk what was going on, see who's there, gonna move in. And we saw, I think your realtor had brought their family over, so we were like, shit, it's gonna be like a normal family. Like we're gonna have to like stay in between the lines,
right? Because
my studio is on this side of the house. So I was really worried about like the master bedroom or like just anything on this wall like fucking up, because I got like a 10-inch sub in there and like massive speakers, and like it's just the shit travels. So anyways, I was really worried about it. And then I saw you scumbags walk up, and I was like, fuck this is exactly
the dirty boys, dude. We have it's Ben and then Daniel are my roommates, and then my name's Aaron, so we call it the bad house. It's the dumbest stuff ever.
Nice.
We're the bad house, dude, the bad boys. But dude, it's cool. We were so pumped to realize that you guys were, it was like the same anxiety. We're like, who's gonna be our freaking next one? But do you know who is next to you guys? Like
they're like it's a small like young family.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nothing they have like a tiny kid, like infant, like a year old, if even. So they're like young parents, and they've been super chill. I mean, they haven't had any problems or.
That's good.
We've just been waves. A
lot of waves in this neighborhood, dude.
A lot of, hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Our neighbor to our left, I guess, I've seen him twice. Big dude with a big beard.
I don't think I've ever seen him.
Dude, I've only seen him like twice, and he stays in his house, man.
Wow.
I think for whatever, I want to say Thanksgiving something, Halloween, they set up a little chair outside, and they were just parked out there to pass out candy.
I might have seen that, that was the only glimpse of them that I saw. There's a couple other people that I like went to high school with, like I wasn't close with, but I see them around here for whatever reason. So I think there's like a lot of like mid-20s kind of people in the neighborhood.
Young adults.
I just got lucky with that shit. But I mean, most importantly, like I said, same fucking wall.
Yeah.
Y'all are in this side. I was like, dude, all right, cool. These fools can just text me if it ever gets out of hand. Like,
dude, we stay up late, and so it's like, it's not a big deal at all.
Right.
I hear it, and I'm like, oh, I get pumped whenever I hear your music, because I'm like, oh, okay, he's in the lab. He's working.
Yeah.
It's cool, dude.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's like the creative, like, we know.
Yeah.
It's cool. I'm a heavy ass sleeper too, so I don't ever. Doesn't bother me.
I've never heard a fucking thing while I've been asleep over there.
Yeah.
But except for fucking dogs barking and shit. Do you care if I hit this?
No, go ahead, bro.
Right.
Yeah, I don't care. All right, bro. So you grew up around this area, didn't you?
Yeah, I grew up in Round Rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, man, I don't know the schools in Round Rock High School, I'm assuming. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I went to Round Rock. I was born in Scottsdale, Arizona. But my parents relocated with jobs and shit when I was like 2, and they're from here anyways. They had only moved out there for a job, so been here forever, like literally in this neck of the woods forever. Never left within like 10 miles of Round Rock. We used to live on the east side by the Del Diamond and shit, by the railroad over there. When I was young, then we moved over here by off of 3406 by like the Rudy's and shit. So I was there for probably like teenage years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then went off to Texas Tech University.
Dude, me too, man. Me too.
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing though.
I mean, dude, neither did I. I only went there because my brother went there. My
Yeah.
brother and then like our close high school. I mean, I said our, but it's really his. Like his friend group went up there, so I was like, I don't know where else to go.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I might as well.
It was just one of those things where I felt like I didn't have like the balls to like tell myself that I didn't want to go to school.
Yeah,
Because it was just
Dude.
it was such an assumed like. It's such a big part of like your ego when you're like a junior in high school.
Yeah.
Like when you start to look for colleges and then you get to school and you're like, wow, I literally could have gone to like a school like 20 minutes from my house.
right, or not at all.
Yeah. It's like that's one thing I always try to tell like a lot of like old neighbors or friends or people who have kids that are like 15, 16, 17. I'm like, you can be all airheaded about where you want to go to school and like get all pumped up by that and like fraternities and whatever, but like if you don't want to live somewhere for 4+ years, like don't go there.
Yeah,
Like, that's why I left Tech. I mean, you can obviously speak on it. It was bigger than just Lubbock, but that was one of the things where it was like a blind decision for me where I was like, yo, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I'm like at these, I was DJing at the time, so I'm doing these crazy frat shows. So like I'd play a party with like Chief Keef on a Saturday night.
right.
And then the following weekend be playing with like these crazy scumbag raving locals that like grew up in Lubbock. And like I was just with some crazy crowds and wasn't interested in school at all and was going for business because I wanted to make money, right?
Right.
That's like
That's
that's what business is.
That's exactly what I went for.
So yeah, I don't know. I called my mom one day and I was like, yo,
Not for me.
I'm like really stressing out
Yeah.
and this isn't cool.
You seem like a guy that doesn't stress out too.
Yeah, I mean, it was a combination of just like the people, because like I didn't rush. I was just DJing for all the frats.
Mhm.
Like I was walking around Rush Week because I knew a bunch of people from high school and shit that were
Right.
like ATOs and shit at Tech at the time, and they're wearing like their whitewashed jeans and their vests and their cowboy hat, and like that's sick. But
Boots.
I had a tie-dye shirt on and a fucking man bun, and I'm walking around there with like some retro shoes on, and they're just like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they weren't like dicks, but it was just like I was walking around there and I was like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
I can just DJ for these fools. It was really easy to sell myself to a fucking, frat dude.
Right, like
throwing the parties and shit. I'm like, dude, it's just, it was super simple.
That's cool though, because that's a pretty big market if you even go for it.
Yeah,
like,
it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So like I was kind of chilling in college, like paid for all my beer and shit, and like on campus food, like I was.
You're balling.
Yeah, I was eating like wings every day and shit. And
you were like unlimited Chick-fil-A, baby.
Dude.
Bring it on.
Yeah, like that 1 a.m. shit, and we had like all you can eat breakfast in our halls in Hewlin.
Okay.
In the mornings, but yeah, like I was saying, just my dorm mates ended up just being who I was like drinking beer with on the weekends, because I wasn't hanging out with the frat guys because they were all rushing. Even the people on our floor that were in rush, they were
busy,
out doing shit. They got their suit and tie on and shit or whatever.
They're sitting at the games, preserving seats for people.
Exactly. So
that's crazy, dude.
It was. Did you rush? Were you in a fraternity?
I was in so I knew I didn't want to rush a fraternity, and I wanted to join something because I didn't like have any friends my first year. I just hung out with my brother and them, and they're cool, but like they didn't do anything.
Where did you stay at the first year?
I stayed. So I went to JUCO my first year.
Oh, gotcha.
So I went technically my sophomore year, and I was able to. I sent in like a form that said I needed to stay with my brother, and so I got to live with my brother off campus. Yeah. So we stayed in the Grove apartments.
Yeah.
Ooh. Those weren't the best ones,
grungy,
but yeah, they were cool though. I mean, dude, I think my brother. This pissed me off. My brother and our roommate at the time, Ryan. They were like looking for apartments because this was like their junior year or their senior year. And so I was like, you guys find it. I don't know what I'm doing. So do it. And
I can't help it all.
Exactly. And so I was like looking forward to going somewhere cool. And it was cool living on my own with those guys. But they signed up for the Grove because they got a free $100 gift card. And bro, it was like double the price of some of the other ones. And I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I have no money. Why are we paying double the price?
We were in a 4-bedroom my sophomore year for like $450.
Dude, it's so cheap.
A month. Yeah. So like, I mean, I was fortunate enough. My parents were paying
Helping
for
you, yeah.
rent and like everything school related and like living wise was on them. But like day-to-day shit was all on me with DJing and shit because they knew I was making like a good
that's cool
solid amount of change. But yeah, so it was just dorm mates and wasn't really vibing with them even though we were cool and like, just kind of like had to make friends because it was like I gotta be around all these people anyways. I went to school with my best friend Chris, and I've known him since I was like 7. Yeah. So we went to school together. That's so that cool. Really helped because I had like somebody I'd grown up with to go experience all this wild shit with me. But yeah, long story short, just fucking called my mom. I was like,
what year was that? Sophomore or junior?
It was sophomore. So it was towards the end of the first semester of my sophomore year. So I didn't do 3 full semesters. Okay. And I probably had like not even half a year of fucking credits. Yeah. Name, like just shitting stuff away. And
it's so easy to do that. It's like, I didn't want to go to school. And I think the only reason I did so well my first couple of years is because I didn't have any friends. But then I joined, like, I don't know how I heard about it, but there's a business fraternity. So I joined that, and it was, they tried to make it as much as a fraternity as they could without like the money or like, it was weird. It was co-ed. It was like, I mean, I'm glad I did it. It got me some friends, but
kind of just like a club.
Yeah.
Like glorified, like club on steroids.
Yeah. But it was pretty big. They had like, they had these same like fraternities in like almost every state, almost every university.
I know they had like engineering frats and shit. Yeah. Like there's like specialized stuff where it's just like everybody's in the same major. Yeah. It was just similar majors like that. And they can kind of just network and shit.
Yeah. It was cool. The coolest thing about that, we took a couple trips. Like we went to Ruidosa every year. Gotcha. I mean, we didn't get to ski. We just went. And kind of went to like a cabin and just chilled. But and then I got to go to Chicago my junior year.
Sick.
So that was cool. But other than that, it was like, that's like all I did. I just went to school, went to the gym, did that.
Yeah, and just kind of that was yourself.
It. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to do it though, because I was kind of at the peak of being like a piece of shit when I was in college. So like I don't smoke weed anymore, but I was just there wasn't a second out of the day where I wasn't stoned in college, and every week, Thursday through Sunday, I was getting shit faced, and just like I was out of high school. Yeah, you know what I mean. I was living college, on my own for the first time. I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
you want the college
none of this
experience.
Shit matters. Like, that's just the airheaded like brain that I have.
Yeah,
especially being that young, where I was like, nothing matters. Fuck it. I don't care. I'm just having a good time.
And it's so easy to do that. It's like, it's fun. Like you have no rules. Like literally you have no rules.
Yeah. I just felt like a kid in a candy store, especially with the DJ and shit. Like it only catered more to the
ego.
The ego. And exactly. It just fueled all that shit where, it made it easier to meet girls. It made it easier to get my hands on booze. I was 18, 19. Like, I was able to get into all the clubs, or majority of the ones that I had DJ'd at before. Right. So I was with all these older people, and just, I don't know, it just kind of like swallowed me up. Yeah. And, just a culmination of that, and then like having to wake up on Monday morning for 8 a.m. and being like, yo.
Dude. 8 a.m. is so hard.
I can't sit in this classroom right now.
Isn't it crazy that it's harder to wake up for an 8 a.m. back then, but like sometimes we get up to get a workout in the morning, or like you work super early, right?
Yeah. So, I work at fucking HEB. Yeah. For everyone who doesn't know.
No, it's good, bro.
And I deliver pizzas on the weekend. So,
dude, I didn't know you did that. That's sick.
I've worked at Pizza Hut like 5 times now. Yeah. Because it's so sick. It's like you'll make like, you come home with like $150 in like 5 hours.
Dang.
4 or 5 hours of and you're just in your car. All I do is listen to shit like this. Listen to Joe Rogan, fucking. And it's like the least effort ever, because you're just in your car driving, and it's like over by my old neighborhood, so it's like I know it. Yeah, it's like no stress whatsoever. My manager over there is like, he's like in his mid 50s. He's like this total stoner, like just doesn't give a shit. Like his whole being is just running this Pizza Hut and being able to like buy beer on the weekends and shit. So like I can just tell him what's up. Like if I can't make it one night or whatever, like it's just no stress involved with Pizza Hut.
That's so cool.
That's why I always end up back there. But
that's what I'm like copying this freelance stuff and working like some sort of either, you know, if I want to take the corporate route or get just a job, like a day job, like, and it's so tough because it's like, I don't want to work a corporate job because I don't want to take work home. I don't want to have to like, cause like even you at HEB, you have set hours, right? But you know, at least a week in advance. And it's like, you can schedule your whatever producing time, DJing time around that. It's like 9 to 5. You're like, it's like so repetitive and so like,
I can kind of touch on that because I used to sell houses. So
really,
when I got out of college, my parents have always been in real estate. My dad sells new homes, so literally like the houses that we're in right now, the people who sold these to the investors that own these houses, like that's what my dad does. He hangs out in the fucking model home all day and just shows people houses, and has been in it for like 20 some years.
Dang.
My mom's an escrow officer, so she like does people's closings and shit when they buy their houses. But my dad didn't go to college. He was like a fucking like metalhead in the 80s. Like he's very much like not your typical like
real estate agent.
Yeah, like white collar guy at all. Like he parties. My parents are fucking awesome. Like they're just like super supportive, and they've always been like super laid back and like real people. Yeah. With me and my sister. And
that's cool. That's cool.
It's just crazy because seeing him at home and knowing like he just drinks beer and hangs out, you know, parties on the weekends, even though he has to work on the weekends. Yeah. Like, not to air out my dad or anything. He's a great worker. But no, the point is I saw like opportunity in that if you're good with your words and you can talk to people and you have an ability to pick shit up quickly, then real estate's not a bad... Sorry, I got hiccups.
No, you're good. You're good.
Real estate's not a bad like option because it is what you make it.
Yeah.
They train you. You don't need a college degree. It's like the same shit with every builder. It's just a different
person.
Set of things you have to learn.
Yeah.
But like the foundation of what you're doing is still the exact same. So I got out of college and I was like, yo, I don't want to be a piece of shit and just get an hourly job right off the bat. It was also like an ego thing. It was like, it was a big deal for me to leave school knowing that I was going to have a degree. You know, everybody that I went to high school with staying and finishing, even though I knew at the time it wasn't right for me. Just like knowing that I had to like fulfill that like gap in my ego at the time. Yeah. Just being like,
dude, it's tough.
I can't just go work at fucking Chipotle after this. Like I got to challenge myself and at least like try to pull myself out of this. And I was going through some crazy shit with my girlfriend at the time, which isn't who I'm with now, but
that's good.
It was just a fucked up time. I left school, going through a breakup. I had been with her since I was like 14, 15.
Dang.
So it was just like, it was like, yo, I'm going to get into real estate. I'm fucking make some money.
Yeah.
I'm put on this goddamn college shirt and these slacks every day, and I'm going to do my thing. And I did it. And, I thought that was what I thought I was going to do that like
forever.
Yeah. I mean, it's sick. I mean, I was making crazy money. I was buying stupid shit. And, I was living with some guys just kind of like how y'all are right now. I had 3 other homies of mine that we were renting a house and paying like, you know, nothing for rent, and just had a ton of money to put away and just felt great. And I just put all the music shit on the back burner, and I was like, yo, this is like what I need to do. I still wanted to DJ. I still like loved going to shows and shit, but
you thought it was like, okay, I'm supposed to go to college. Since I'm not doing that, I'm going to work and be a man, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I needed to like fill that void somehow.
Yeah.
Of like, I can't just immediately shit this away.
Yeah.
And like just...
I don't want to be one of those guys that just works at like your manager.
Yeah. And it's cool, but it's like, you know, when you're 19, that's like the last thing in the world that you want to like...
No, I agree.
Be down with, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and even like think about even going into college, you're like, okay, I might not know what I want to do exactly, but I'll get a business degree and I'll be, I'll do something with the business degree. That's like your mindset. It's not like only a few people, if they're lucky, is like, you know what, I'm going to pursue what I love to do
I'm
right
doing
out of high
this
school.
exact thing.
Yeah.
And following this exact path.
Exactly. So it's like, it's just tough.
It's still kind of like, it's for most people, it's still like just a crapshoot until you get out and like start tasting shit and being able to like really figure out, where the fuck you want to take things. Yeah, no, totally. So it's a crazy, it's kind of just a roller coaster of fucking trying to figure this shit out. And I got back to music. Like I said, I was making great money, was kind of putting on this face every day, this corporate face, like circling way back to what you're saying about the corporate, like 9-to-5 shit, which is why I brought all this up, is like, I thought that was the wave for me. Like, I felt like a hustler. I was 19 in an office with like, 30, 35-year-old, 40-year-olds, like people that have been doing this for 30 years. Like, and I was doing the same shit they were. Yeah. And, it was just a trip. And it was great to experience because I think it taught me that a lot of that corporate type, like by the book shit, like it's not as scary as you think it is. Like, there's a lot of not so smart people that do that shit and make like a lot of fucking money. Yeah. So it kind of like
opened your eyes.
Yeah. It was a nice breath of fresh air to kind of like existentially look at everything and be like, yo, I'm not missing something that these people have. Yeah. And at any time I can, play my cards with that shit. It might not always be my favorite thing to do at the time, but in order to just make it work, if I'm ever in a rough spot, now that I know I can handle it, so it's like,
you got that experience and you're like, okay, I know this isn't for me now. Right. Yeah. That's crazy, dude. I've had a similar experience. Me and actually Daniel too. We came here from Marble Falls. We were working at this marketing firm, a small scale marketing firm. And just like the day to day, it's a little different, like we did get to experience a lot of that stuff. A lot of it was in office. I did primarily real estate photography, so I was still using my camera, right? But it wasn't like anything creative.
Right. It's very like
cookie cutter, dude.
Yeah, that's same shit every house.
Exactly the same stuff. And so, things kind of changed there, and then we'd go home at like, it was just us, because have you ever been to Marble Falls? Yeah. It's boring. Yeah. It's literally like the town I came from. It's called Granbury. It's like everything closes at 8 or 9.
Yeah, I had a girl that I was dating in college that was from there.
Okay.
So
you visited.
I heard of it and at least just knew that it was small town Texas kind of
small town like, on a lake, so it was kind of cool in the summer. And then like
there's some people with money there. And like, yeah.
But like we would go home after work and like we'd get a workout in, and then it'd be like, okay, like now what? Yeah. Drive to Austin, drive an hour away, right? And then drive an hour back. So it was just, we kind of had to take that leap, and it was well worth it, I think. Like, right. Yeah. So it was cool. A similar experience. So
yeah, no, I mean, it's cool, and like you said, y'all went through it too. But it's just cool to like realize, like I said, that you can be young and not know what the fuck you're doing, and still meander through that environment of people that are, driving BMWs and paying their fucking mortgage, and you know what I mean? It's like, it's just cool to at least know that shit's like not way up here on the ladder. Like you just,
I agree.
If you just commit to trying to do something like that, like you'll get there.
Literally
pretty fucking quickly.
It's pretty crazy.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
So, I was sitting. I have so much crazy shit to talk about during that period because I was like, I had a bunch of extra money. Like I said, my rent was really low, so I was making good money with the house shit, and I still wanted to do something with music. Yeah. And there's a lot of free time when you're sitting in the model home, like during the week and shit. So I was always like up to something while I was at work because I didn't have anything else to do. You go and open up all the houses and you just basically fucking wait for people. You call leads here and there, but there's like a good like 5 hours a day where you're just twiddling your thumbs if you don't have customers in there. So I had a bunch of homies from high school that were like really deep into the hip hop scene here. Producers and engineers and shit. My boy Mason Flint and his whole crew, that they run a couple rooms at Music Lab, which unfortunately is about to close, but it's been a big like staple here for recording. It's a big ass like warehouse with like probably a couple, maybe 100 rooms that people rent out and shit. So I was really like well integrated with them and just had like kind of an extended network of people that were already doing some cool shit with music in Austin. And so I'd be in there in my fucking college shirt and I'd be on the phone with these fools like, yo, you know, I got this amount of money.
Yeah.
What can I do with it? You know, I want to help you guys out. I started trying to play like a manager role where like, because we had a lot of guys that were doing really cool shit at the time. And I just felt like, you know, me being 19, 20, selling these houses, making this money, I felt on top of the world. And I was like, yo, like I can run everybody's shit. Let me send emails for y'all. Let me handle the back end of all this shit. So I wanted to put money into their shit, and we started throwing these little like parties and shows that I would throw a little money into, and did a few of those. So I'd be on the fucking phone all day, like talking about booking like Key and flying people out from Atlanta, like while I'm sitting there like waiting for some family of 4 to walk in and tell me they want to buy the fucking house across the street. So it was a crazy time of me still trying to like be myself and try to do some shit that I was interested in and play my cards that I was making at the time. But so that was just a crazy time.
That's crazy. You were like essentially like a promoter. You're like, hey.
Yeah. For hip hop, which fucking blows.
You don't like hip hop?
No, not hip hop. Like
the industry.
Promoting hip hop fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you want to talk about ego? Like the hip hop world, like it's just inflated on a fucking million when you're dealing with managers of rappers, and especially like that mid tier of artists that are like, they've done some cool shit. Yeah. And like they've been here and there like 3-4 years ago. And their management's like really trying to keep them relevant. So they're still playing like that industry card. Yeah. But they're also not going to sell tickets. So it's like this weird thing where you have to explain to people like, usually there's not a lot of like bartering in that sense, but it's just a lot of dealing with that where it's like they might have done X, Y, and Z 5 years ago. They've been riding off of club money from that ever since. And that was all I could afford at the time for booking people. So we did like Key and Reese LaFleur and Diego Money. We did a bunch of local shit. But yeah, it was like guys that you'll book for like $2,000-$3,000. Like nothing crazy at all. Because most of your like big artists right now are like easily 10, 15 plus, 20 plus.
Yeah, for one night.
Yeah. And it's like a lot, like the stars have to fucking align for that to work out for you. And even the shows that I did throw, I pretty much lost all my money. Yeah. But I was just so invested and like committed into it that I was like,
didn't care.
I just want to ride this shit out. Yeah. Yeah. Like it was a great fucking night. Like that was all I cared about, was like, I looked around and I was like, not to sound like a dick, but like, this shit happened because of me and the people that were around me that enabled me and put me in this position to be able to make something like this happen. So that was the coolest part, is like
almost like the satisfaction of like seeing it come to fruition.
Yeah, 100%. And like after you're just fucking stressing about it for 3 months. Yeah. And there's just so many things that go into it. And like I have the utmost respect for promoters and people who make their living off of that shit, because that's a crazy world. And
it seems like it.
There's a million moving parts, and you know, it's just, it takes so much out of you trying to put that shit together. Yeah. And when you get to the point where it's like home run level of just being successful with it, like big ups to all them, because it takes a lot.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
I know nothing about that.
Yeah.
I know nothing about it. I do. So like I'm really big into comedy, and so I know a little bit about that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's a little similar, but it's like the music world is just totally different.
Yeah, it's just comedy. I feel like I'm a huge comedy fan too, but I feel like it's a little bit more cut and dry with like who sells tickets and who doesn't. Yeah, you know what I mean. And like, I I pretty much owe all of my like quote unquote knowledge of comedy to fucking Rogan and all those fools for just how much they talk about it. And there's a lot of like similarities between like the ladder that they have to climb as young comedians,
right,
and moving up into selling out arenas eventually. Like there's a lot of like, you know, connections you can draw between
the
that
two
kind
industries
of path and the music path. So,
that's crazy. I got to experience that firsthand. Like the past 3 weeks, I contacted this dude on Instagram who has a network. It's called Big Laugh Comedy. They're based out of Austin, and they put on shows every week, I guess. And you know, depending on the week, it's bigger comedians or locals or whatever. So I hit him up. I was like, hey, I do like photos and videos, so just hit me up. I sent him my website, and it was either a couple weeks or a couple months later, he hit me up. He was like, hey, we want you to do a promo for us. So of course I jumped on it. I was like, yeah, for sure. And it was on 6th Street at the Vulcan Gas Company.
Yeah, that's where we threw that show I was just talking about.
Yeah, dude. It's kind of a dirty venue, but it's dope. I like it.
Yeah, I've played there a million times. I mean, I say I love comedy, but I've never been to a comedy show.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't get into it until the last like 2-3 years.
Right.
And it's like, it's always been that type of deal where it's like, you know, $80, $100 to go see somebody at fucking ACL Live. And it's like a limited amount of tickets, and it's, you know what I mean? So I'm crazy stoked that like Rogan's here now, and he's trying to move the whole like comedy mecca to Austin. I just feel like we're so lucky because there's going to be so much like just cool shit that comes out of that.
So much is coming. So much live entertainment.
Yeah.
With that, like other people are going to be like, okay, well, it's hot over there, so let's hit it. So it's a really good time to be a young adult in Austin, and it's like
100%.
Even though COVID just happened, like the pandemic, but it's like it's going to bounce back for sure, just because of that little JRE effect.
Because I mean, it's like how they talk about the store in LA. It's like that's what Rogan wants to do here. You know what I mean? Like that's what's crazy to me is like we're gonna be able to see, you know, from on any given night of the week, there's gonna be some killer performing downtown, and they're just working on material, and they got to rep it out to be able to put their shit together. And I'm excited for that kind of shit where LA's been having it for years, where they can go pay $25 and see, you know, Joey Diaz, Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, all those crazy fuckers. And I like I said before, it was so transactional with comedy here before. Like I'm sure there's a great like local comedy scene here that's been here for a minute, but I just never, you know, being like a mainstream comedy fan, had never been aware of that here, and never just took the opportunity to go out and try to see somebody. But
I think that's one of the good things about the pandemic too, is that it's like you couldn't do all these things, and so now you're like, man, I should really do all these things now that I can't. Like once it comes back, I'll definitely be. I'm gonna make it a goal. I've made it a goal to try to hit up local shows, like for DJs, local artists, man, and just support and get involved. Exactly, because it's not gonna always be there. We've learned, and so that's one of my goals up and coming, especially comedy, because that's, you know, I love comedy, but it's cool to see that coming, and it's cool to know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a huge, like, obviously in comedy, like the multimedia like side of it is huge. Specials and even just the like some of the greatest like photos ever are like, you know, like dim lit, like
historic,
those club shots, you know, just that fool just happened to be in the club, and, I'm sorry,
no, you're good,
see that set, and I don't know, I feel like that's like a great,
it's,
you know, it's just like music where it's like you just catching moments, you know.
Exactly. That's the thing though, dude, is like I have a passion for video and photos and stuff, but I have a greater passion for comedy. Like when I say I like comedy, I love comedy, like I want to be a comedian or like I want to be involved in that world somehow, whether it's like writing or behind the scenes or like on the stage.
That's awesome, man.
That's
I had
like
no idea.
This gig I took was like essentially my way of like a sneak peek.
Just shaking a few hands. Seeing what's up.
And so my fear is that, like, I don't know if you ever had this fear or not whenever you were like working as a realtor, but I don't want to be known as the manager. I don't want to be known as the videographer in that music industry
Right.
or the comedy industry. I want to be known as like a comedian eventually, you know? And so that's like a little dilemma I'm having in my head. I don't know if that's strange or similar to what you had.
Yeah,
but
no,
like,
I mean, just you feel like you're just gonna box yourself in if you get in
Yeah.
too deep with some shit.
yeah,
I mean, I think any exposure you can get to people who are doing that shit the right way,
yeah,
doesn't matter what the fuck you're doing for them. It's like at the store, how they talk about in LA, like all the people that work there are aspiring comedians.
right. The
You know
door
what I mean?
guys.
Like
yeah,
I could totally see that. You know, if you're really into that trajectory and you don't mind going to serve fucking tables at Rogan's Club,
right.
you know what I mean? Like that, just being there. Like
Yeah,
that's it. Like it's just, as long as you're around people who are doing shit the right way,
Right. No, I agree.
then you're going to be able to soak some shit up from them
100%.
and move, because there's no rules with that shit. But
Not at all.
I think it's just something that, because I had the same thing where I've always DJ'd
Mhm.
and playing a manager role was kind of weird, and I enjoyed it because I knew it like played to my strengths,
Mhm.
but at the same time I wanted to do more shit than that.
Mhm.
But I didn't think about it at the time because I was like,
So caught up.
this
in
is
it.
only helping me, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
yeah.
whatever the fuck I'm doing, even if you're serving drinks, you know, 2 years from now to some random fuckers at a comedy club,
Yeah.
like just spending that 4 or 5 hours with whoever it is and just soaking up that energy,
Yeah.
like that's what's you're gonna pick up little things every single night where you're like, okay, like that's how that works, and that's
Yeah,
how this works.
for
And
sure.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was cool, dude. It was cool being there. Like, I've been to a couple comedy shows, but it was cool because I kind of got to have that backstage like VIP experience almost, where I was like, anywhere in the club I wanted to be,
Right.
I was able to be there because I had my camera, you know.
Press
and-
pass, baby.
Yeah, yeah. So I had that access, dude. And Joe, I don't know if you know this, but Joe wrote I think he put on his Instagram or whatever. But him and Dave Chappelle had shows that same weekend. I was down there,
Stubbs.
and so the last night, dude, I tried to get out of there early because Ron White came and performed. So I got to see Ron White. That was dope.
So I've had a bunch of homies that are like posting on their stories. This is the shit I'm talking about, where it's like, now that they're like committed to being here, and well, Ron White's been here for a while now,
Right.
but like, I think Rogan was talking about like they pulled him out of his
Yeah.
tequila fucking cave
His
and got
little
him back
shell.
on stage again, and
Yeah.
he's like flipping shit, and Hinchcliffe and just like all those dudes, they're gonna just pop out. Like,
Yeah.
until that club is built, like it's just a matter of like where you're at, what night it is. Like they're gonna do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah,
Wherever they pull up, that bar knows that they're gonna make money.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's like there's no limits for them to just pull up somewhere and be like, "Yo, we're gonna
Yeah.
do a couple sets here tonight." So
Hell yeah. We
I've
did,
been super jealous of that shit.
dude. I did interviews and Daniel helped me out, and it was just for the locals. So like a bunch of local comics were getting interviewed by 2 local comics, and they would switch off.
Were they funny?
They were, yeah, some of them were pretty funny.
Really?
And then before we got to watch the actual show, their interviews were all great. Like
I say that like it's not possible. For
Yeah,
them to be
they're all
funny, but-
comics.
Yeah.
But before the actual show started, we had to get out of there because we had people coming over that night. But dude, Ron White and Tony Hinchcliffe showed up, and so I was kind of mad I missed it.
I
But
fucking love those dudes. Ron White's like one of the best to ever do it.
yeah, it was cool to see him in person, man. It was
Yeah.
it was wild. That's literally the project I'm working on right now. I'm editing his, a promo video for that network
Gotcha.
with him, and then I didn't get Tony Hinchcliffe, but
That's fucking sick.
it was
man.
cool. Brian
Yeah.
Redband, he was in it. So yeah,
He just moved here too. I was listening.
yeah.
To they put out a podcast yesterday or today.
Isn't that crazy, dude? Like, you think, I'm like, yeah, Redband, yeah, oh yeah, and Ron White,
Yeah,
yeah, they
yeah,
were
yeah.
here. It's almost like we know them, but like,
yeah.
that's the whole point. That's why I love this platform, is because
Right.
people are gonna know you after this. People are gonna know me a little
Yeah.
better after this. And
It's so weird. Like, I mean, they've all touched on it too, where it's like people who don't have the best head on their shoulders, like they'll take advantage of that. Like
Mhm.
they'll like walk up to someone and like try to crack a joke in a way where it's like,
yeah,
yo, we're not like, I don't know who the fuck you are.
we don't know each other. Yeah.
But it's such a weird thing because like these people have listened to people talk about like the most personal shit for thousands of hours. You know what I mean?
Literally.
So it's like, how do they not like fight off that urge to like dick around with somebody like they're your homie? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's such a weird like
Yeah.
I know this person,
But I don't.
but they don't know who the fuck I am.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
it's
like,
so strange. It's like we're having a conversation right now. We're like, yeah, like we know these guys, but what was I gonna say? Like, so every now and then my brother or my roommate Daniel will ask me a question about like, it's like, I wonder what Joe Rogan's like thinking about doing, and I'm like, oh, I already know. Like, I know what he's gonna do. Like,
yeah, I can tell you what he's doing next.
We talked about it last week.
Next
man.
Wednesday, bro. Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's cool. How did you? This is what I wanted to ask you. How did you even get into music and DJing? First of all, because usually it starts with like a piano or like a guitar.
Yeah. I'd say like the first. I don't really have that much of a musical family, but my parents love music. Like, I remember the first time I heard Usher, I was like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And like, you know, my parents had the fat ass book of CDs and
Yeah.
and I have this like fond ass memory of being like super young, and my dad went and took a shower and was like, you can listen to this CD, but don't listen to the like this specific song
Right.
on there, because it was like probably about sex or some shit. And
Yeah.
I didn't know, I don't remember what song it was, but it was some Usher song that was like super explicit at the time. And that was the first fucking one that I put on when he was in there.
Yeah.
I just remember just like, I didn't know what to make of what I was hearing. Like that's like one of my first memories of music. And from there, it was just like, I had a drum set when I was younger. I never really took it too seriously. And then when we moved to the house that I was in as a teenager, our neighbors, they had this like crazy fucking 20-something piece drum set, like fully wrapped around. Like the dad, he had played on the same drums when he was our age. When he was 18, 19, he played in bands in like the 60s, 70s and shit. So it was the same drum set, and they just added on and added on.
That's cool.
And they had 2 sons who I looked up to because they were like 18, 19 when I was like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And I would just go over there and just watch them jam and just be like, this is fucking crazy. Made him teach me some shit, just like rhythmically. I picked it up pretty fast, but again, like I didn't have my own drum set at that time, so I never like put hours and hours into it. I'd just be like, hey, can I go play your drums?
Right.
And like would go over there and bang on them for a little while. But I'd say it all changed when I went to my first show, electronic show for sure, because I'd been to like family like festival concerts, and like at the rodeo, you know, they have like
Right.
Robert Earl Keen or somebody like that play. So I'd been around live music before, but this was the first time that me and my other 14-year-old friends, you know, freshmen in high school,
Right.
we'd go out to a fucking venue. We're like, holy shit, like,
This is crazy.
can I have a cigarette? Like, you know what I mean? It's like some stupid shit where we were just so inoculated by what was going on. And we'd been listening to a lot of electronic music. A friend of mine is like, he was old for our grade, so
Yeah.
he had his license before any of us, or like his
Oh,
permit.
dude.
So he would drive around in his mom's Yukon, which had like the like upgraded like Bose like sound system in it.
Back in the
So
day,
all
that
the
was
like
crazy.
Excision and like Datsik and which Datsik's frowned upon now. I don't know if you know about that. He's just crazy like sexual
Oh.
allegations stuff, but at the time he was really sick.
Yeah.
And that was the show we were at.
At the time.
Yeah, so it was like Datsik, Getter, The Frim, X-Core, Terra Vita, crazy lineup for the time. And it was this Vortex tour, so he DJ'd like inside of this huge like cone shape of like projector wall, like whatever that material is that you like shine light on or whatever.
Yeah.
So they had a projector so it was like basically a spinning like portal kind of shit around him, and that was our first show. And some of these bigger bass shows, especially at that time, they would market like they would have a traveling sound system with the tour. So it'd be like 50,000 watts of PK sound. Like you would say that on the flyer. And we were front row, and I had never felt like, it was just the craziest shit. Like my fucking organs were shaking, and I was like just looking around at all these people just going crazy. And I remember when the openers were on, like, I vividly remember looking at them and being like, I can do that. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I was watching what he was doing with his hands, because we weren't like drinking, or this was well before like we were really into like the whole like partying shit. Like, we'd have a beer every now and then and think we were fucking cool, but we were just there, stone cold sober, just there for the music, and got sweaty and left and felt fucking awesome. And I just remember looking up there at that opener, and I was like, dude, like, it doesn't look like what he's doing is that hard. And I felt like I understood what he was doing while I was watching it, even though I really didn't. But it was enough to pique my interest in it. And the following Christmas, I asked for a MacBook, and I got one, and got Virtual DJ, which is like a free DJ software, and started fucking DJing with my mouse, like dragging faders over and like just sitting there and like on the laptop speakers. Like, I didn't even have speakers or anything to play it out of. And it just kind of spiraled from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'd say like I got my first little controller when I was like 15, probably somewhere around there, 15, 16.
Right.
Got some cheap little speakers and just started nonstop trying to figure out just how to mix. Like, it was purely DJing. I thought that all I had to do was figure out how to DJ, and then I could play fucking Ultra the next year. You know what I mean? Like, that was just the young kid in me that was like,
ambitious.
This sounds sick.
Right.
I should be on a fucking main stage already. Like, so yeah, I knew that the people that I look up to were making music too, but I was just so infatuated with just transitions, and like I'd watch a live set and like just like every little detail, try to like hone in on what was going on at like a Diplo and Skrillex set, and like
almost more so than like listening to the music. You're like, okay, how did he do this? Like,
watching the crowd, just like
you're like learning,
like getting goosebumps the whole time, just like trying to like immerse myself in what the fuck they were doing, because it was so cool to me. And I mean, it feels like a blur from there, but I just slowly got better and better at DJing.
Yeah.
Started opening for same thing where I just hit up people cold turkey. Was like, yo, I'll play anything. Like, just hit me up. Even if I don't know who the person is that I'm opening up for, like, hit me up. I'll do it for free. I'll sell tickets, whatever. So I did the whole like eat shit and sell 20 tickets and you can play at fucking 9 p.m. kind of thing.
Right.
Which sucks, but and I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, but it was still valuable for me to just see that there's people. It's like I was talking about earlier with the comedy shit, where it's like there's people who do it right and there's people who don't, and that was a good window into how that feels, like that transactional, like it's like someone telling you, like, if you hit up 25 of your friends and get them to go to this show and they don't know who the fuck is playing, and it's gonna be so sick and you're doing everything you can to get them there, and then you can walk around with a camera and just like have your flash on for like 30 minutes. You know what I mean? It's like, you love that you're in there and doing it and just out with your friends, but it's just such a fucked up position to put people in, especially like kids who are just aspiring to like get better at it.
Yeah.
Because it's such a transactional, like non-meaningful way to throw somebody into the fire. They turn the music way down at 9 p.m. They say you can't play this, you can't play this. So I was still just so stoked at the time to even like be on a stage, and played a bunch of shit at Kingdom here, which is no longer around, but it was just my first taste at like being in a booth, seeing what that felt like, having people dance, and yeah, it's just kind of off and on with that, and never really fucked around with making music until really only like 2 years ago. Really? Yeah, it was just DJing, and yeah, it was just kind of my bread and butter. And like I said, the egotistical part of me being a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid was just like, all I have to do is DJ.
Right.
I don't want to have to learn how to make music. Like, it's such a crazy learning curve trying to figure it out. So yeah, I thought I could ride that out, and then was in that fucking office one day selling houses, and was like, dude,
Yeah.
I'm 21 years old at the time. I was stressed out. I didn't have much free time. You have to work the weekends when you're doing real estate shit, and I was just like, dude, I know that I want to fucking do this, and if I don't commit, 21 to 30 to 28, 29, somewhere in there, if I don't commit these years of my life to going after what I really want to do, then I know for a fucking fact that I'm going to regret it. So it's like,
yeah.
And I couldn't face that thought on a daily basis and be cool with it once I had realized that once I had made that realization in my head, like how young I was. Like, it felt good at first to be that young hustler, like I said, with just going after shit in a corporate environment. But like I said, I just knew I'd fucking regret that shit if I didn't get into.
No, man, I totally feel that.
Yeah.
Whenever you were talking about how you went to your first show and you're like, dude, I can do. I feel that similar way whenever I'm at these events. And I told my brother, I told Daniel, I was like, dude, I'm recording these people, but I'm like almost envious that I'm not the one that's being recorded. Like, not in terms of like, I want the spotlight on me, but it's like, I know I can do that. And so I'm like, why am I not doing it?
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's like, it's playing to your strengths, right? It's like, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing for either of us to admit that, like, we feel like we can be in that position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of like, that motherfucker can do it. Like, there's no reason I can't. You know what I mean? And it's like, they're not a magician. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's not rocket science. Like, they just decided that this is what they wanted to do. They put X amount of time into it.
Right. And they have that passion.
Sure, there's talent and all that shit that gets into it, but like, you wouldn't be interested in it in the first place if you didn't feel like you had something to bring to the table.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I felt guilty about that at times, where it's like, especially now, because I'm still in a spot where there's a lot of really good things happening for me behind the scenes with music, as far as like the next couple years go. Just setting myself up with a solid foundation to like grow. And I've, like, the last year has been a really legitimate like run at making me feel like the decision I made was like justified and
the right one.
Yeah, it's just getting that, like, I always forget the fucking word, but like I can't think of the word. Just getting the feeling of like, oh, these people are accepting me into this circle, and I look up to them, and there's a circle above them, and a circle above them, and like, after a while, all those lines and like levels that you think about when you're first starting out kind of blend together, and like, you start to realize that there's no difference. It's just a matter of like how much time and shit that you put into it, and how you treat people and shit like that. So it's been a really sick year, and I don't remember the point I was trying to make in the beginning, but yeah, my whole thing is like, I knew I could do it. I'm doing my best to set up my trajectory to get there.
Yeah.
And I think I'm on the right path, but
seems like it.
Yeah, there's just so many more hours to put in. You know? And like,
hours. It's a lot of hours to get that 10,000th hour.
Yeah,
right?
And it's like, it's fucked up because like, you can do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like that kid in you that's like, no, like, I don't have to do all that. Like, I'm already there. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's so hard to fight off that kind of like subconscious feeling of like, yeah, I love this shit, and yeah, I want to do it all the time. But there's also like, if you don't push past those feelings of like where you're tired and you want to tap out, and like when it stops being convenient, you know, to just enjoy yourself with work, when it doesn't feel like work, when it does become work is what I'm trying to get to. Like, if you're not able to push it through then, you know, you're not really legitimizing like your ladder to where you're trying to go.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Or that passion, right? That
yeah.
The passion for wherever final destination you're trying to get to.
Yeah, it's just crazy because like you can love this shit so much, like you with the photo shit or whatever, and me with the music shit and all that, and like you can love it so much, but like maybe 50% of the time that you spend doing it, you're having a good time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And like I think that's more true than a lot of people like to admit.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there are some people, you know, I don't know how you feel about this, but like staring at a screen and trying to write melodies and trying to make sounds, and like there's so much like trial and error in this shit that it takes so much time to learn, and building your own sound and music. You don't learn it from like, you get started watching YouTube videos and shit, but like learning your style, and I'm sure there's a lot of similarities with this and like photo video shit, but learning your style and like what's going to be your sauce, like you only get that done by trial and error.
Yeah. But dude, I really like, so a lot of people that I talk to, like a lot of my friends, I would say, aren't in the creative field, in like photo, video, comedy, music, literally artwork, whatever else. It's like, it's almost like the same under the art umbrella, right? Because it's all art, I feel like.
Right, yeah.
So like a lot of my friends, it's hard to like, you can't really talk to them about this stuff, or like.
Yeah, the isolation is real. Like, yeah, it really is. I mean, like, I struggle with that a lot because a lot of the friends that I came up with that I'm still close with now, they're consumers of music, you know, but they don't think about it beyond that. And there's no, and I don't blame them. Like, you always want people to support you, and you know, they always do. Like, my friends have always been at my shows, and you know, 80% of the time they've been there supporting me and listening to my music and shit. But like, it's just hard to relate, you know, if people aren't on the same wavelength with you about whatever it is that you're into and that you truly care about, like all the bullshit aside, like just talking shop aside, like it's hard to feel like you have a that social like aspect of it, you know, because that's huge. And like for me, like I remember when I first got into Discord, like I don't know if do you fuck around with Discord at all? It's just like think about it like Xbox Live, but on your PC. Like, it's just like a chat. Like, it's the most popular way to like be on calls with people, like while you're gaming or like while you're working on music, or there's whole communities with like that bigger artists will have, and a lot of aspiring artists will be in there and just try to soak up knowledge, and it gives them direct access to, you know, these guys, and it helps build the bigger artist brands because they have this whole community of people that are engaged and shit. But when I first got into that, it opened up my whole world with just like cold DMing artists that I was into that weren't huge yet, but I really liked their music and felt like I had something to learn from them. I'd hit them up and be like, yo, you know, would love to just stay in touch. Send you some shit that I have, like, feel free to tell me it's fucking trash, but I just I'm trying to just meet people.
Just give me something.
Yeah. And it's kind of snowballed from there. Like, I attribute a lot of the like network of people that I know in music now to getting online and getting in those chat rooms with people, and just making new friends, but virtually. You know, these people I have friends in Belgium and Netherlands and Canada, and it's like, you know, I've never met these people, but I talk to them just like I would, you know, somebody that I've been hanging out with since I was 10 years old, you know. So it's like,
that's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's really sick. And it's still weird though, because it's like I've always had like this kind of like pipe dream of being in like a fucking TikTok house, but for like what I want to
Musicians.
do,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
but like I know that there's positives and negatives to that whole situation, but I
Right.
feel like kind of I romanticize that thought in my head of like being physically around people who are doing nothing but what I'm doing all the time,
Right.
and just feeding off that energy.
Right.
And like you get that when you go to shows and stuff, and I'm sure you have the same thing where it's like you feel energized after you leave like a gig like that. You're like just talking to people, or maybe you're just even going to a show and just seeing other people shoot stuff, and or if you go to ACL and seeing their, you know, crew of people that are putting together the production for that, like you leave there saying like, wow, like there's a reminder, like I knew that's what I wanted to do, but it's just another kick in the ass that like
Motivation.
it just feels good to be around that.
Yeah, it does.
And you know, I've met, there's a lot of people that do music here in Austin that I'm close with, and there's a lot of great people here, but yeah, just I mean, you have a ton of people that you call friends and that you are close with, but work is a whole nother like aspect of that relationship, you know? So it's like I can go to the club and have a few beers with everybody and just vibe out and have a great time, hugs all around. Like it's a great night. It's great to see them, whatever. But like when it's 3 a.m. and I'm in the studio and I'm banging my head on a desk, like I'm not going to hit those fools up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, I know 100%.
So it's like, that's the gap in it right now for me, is like, I still have some people that I can, like I have a huge network of people online I can hit up, but there's still that gap of like, I'm internet friends with these people.
Right.
And I really enjoy them as people and what they do. And I love their music and I want to support them in every way they can. And they feel the same way with me, but, we're not around each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we're on different schedules. They're on the other side of the fucking world. Like,
right.
It's just a weird dynamic to the whole like social picture. So
yeah,
that's something I'm still trying to develop every day. Cause like I said, the social thing is like such a big aspect of not going insane.
Right.
While you're trying to get shit done.
Exactly. And
know?
this, I mean, I don't know how much this has affected you, but the whole COVID thing has been a huge part in that too. It's like you almost can't now, you know, like.
Yeah. It's only like multiplied that feeling of feeling isolated and what you're trying to do.
Exactly. I'm sure that gets a little easier with of course time, but like the bigger you get in your world, the more people will want to be around you, you know? So it's like you're longing for that with others, but like people who are below you are longing for that with, you know, so it's like.
Right. There's levels to it.
Levels. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was going to be a great year for me. I mean, it still was a great year, but like I got booked for Freaky Deaky, which was supposed to be on Halloween. That. Yeah. And that was my first, I was billed as a headliner. And I'm not by any means a headliner, like time slot wise, like I was going to play at like fucking 3 p.m.
Right.
But just the fact that I had at least taken a couple steps in the right direction for myself to put myself in that picture.
Yeah, that's huge.
And not a regional act, because that's a big thing. There's a lot of great artists that just kind of repetitively play these regional support acts on big festivals. And it's usually a different stage.
Yeah.
Or it's the first slot of the day. I was going to play like the second or third. It's not a huge difference, but...
to the average person.
Right, but as the artist, it makes a big difference mentally when someone's respecting you as an independent artist instead of just a regional DJ. And it's no knock on any of those people because they're all killing it, but a big part, you know, I put so much time into this stuff, and I put so much time into the music and my sets, and like if I have a booking, I'm spending like 2 weeks putting together my set just for that hour that I'm on stage.
Yeah.
Just because I want it to be perfect. Like, and like I'm not the kind of dude who's gonna pull up and just like throw my USB in and just it's just not how I roll.
Yeah.
Because I care about what's coming out of the fucking speakers.
Yeah.
You know, like I want that whole hour to just be an experience for whoever is on the other side of the speakers. And
Right.
it seems so cliche to say, but it's like, I don't want there to ever be a dull moment, or like when I'm at shows, you know, there's sometimes when people are playing, you're like looking around like, okay, like
When's the next person coming
the
on?
the song's been playing for a little too long, or
Right.
it's obviously not working, like shit like that. So yeah, that booking was just a big deal for me, because it was like, this is Freaky Deaky, this is a massive Disco Donnie festival, Deadmau5, Zomboy, like massive artists who've been doing this shit for a long time.
And that's huge, because that's how people get discovered. Like, that's how you get discovered by a wider. Those people's crowds are going to be there waiting for them, and they're going to hear you, and they're going to be like, "Oh shit, this guy's this guy's the real deal." And then that's how you grow.
Yeah,
that's speaking on like the, you know, listening in on podcasts and like learning. Like, a lot of these guys say that it's so easy, especially in the comedy world, to just be a local act, right? And you like, okay, I know Austin, I know Texas, I'm going to use these jokes in Austin, around Texas, and just kill, because I live here, I know it.
right.
Like,
It's comfortable.
It's comfortable, and like, that's, if you don't go to Oklahoma to do comedy, then you're never gonna grow. You're never gonna get bigger. If that's your goal, like, growth should be the goal, and like, being the best version of yourself. Like, you know, that's literally the most stereotypical cliche thing I could have said. Yeah. But being like the ultimate.
It's true though.
The ultimate version of yourself is who you want to be, and you can't do that if you don't grow and like get out of your comfort zone. And so that's respect, dude. That's awesome. That was a huge thing though, and I'm sure it'll happen again. But that's,
yeah. I mean, I'm optimistic. Like, I've been optimistic all year that, you know, this year and the years following will only be better. I mean, that's the goal. That's what I'm striving for. But that was the biggest thing for me, where it was like, I knew that a lot of stuff could potentially snowball off of that booking.
Right.
And like, I'm the type of dude where like, I do this shit because I want to be on the road. Like, yeah, that's my dream. Like, my girl and I have talked about it. Like, I want to go eat shit on a tour bus and like be sleeping on one of those bunks and getting paid $150 a night for 40 dates. Yeah. In 60 days. Like, that's, I want nothing more right now than to make that happen, and that's the goal. That's just how much I love being a part of the show side of this. So I love being in the studio and making music, but like, the touring part is what I'm most excited about. It's where the most money is in this, which happens to work out when it's the coolest thing to be a part of. Yeah. But just like being at a festival is such it's such an energizing thing. Like, you know, I was almost more excited about that booking just to be able to mingle with people backstage than I was to play the set. Yeah. Because it's that legitimacy, right? Like, if I'm billed as a headliner, then I have that extra little step of leverage to be like, I can introduce myself to anybody I want to here. Yeah. You know what I mean?
As a headliner. Right. You don't say, hey, I'm the opener. Like, what's up, guys?
Right. Yeah. And it's like, and like, keep in mind, like, there's a very, very long, you know, staircase to climb to get to where these people that I'm trying to meet are at. Right. But it puts me in the same room, quote unquote, as them, you know, and like, that's the biggest part. And some of my most meaningful relationships with artists that I've always looked up to now have started that way. Yeah. Just mingling, just having a few beers, bullshitting with people, just letting people know that you're a real person and that you're not a fucking weirdo. That's important. That you've been in this shit long enough to know that acting like a weirdo and like spazzing out isn't what's gonna aid your journey at all. And I don't know, just,
it's the weirdest thing is like, people who are in like the positions that we would like to be in eventually, like, people dehumanize them, not in terms of like, you know, like, it's just they don't see them, like, they almost feel as if they're on a different platform, which is like not the case.
Right.
I've met some pretty cool people. Like even in the comedy world, I've met, you know, a lot of cool people just going to shows and waiting after to see him. And they're like, hey, yeah, what's up, guys? I'm just about to go to the bar or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they're literally just people, and it's the craziest thing.
It's a great reminder that there's like no barriers with this shit, you know? It's like,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying is like the energy that I leave with after just having those human interactions with people that I've fanboyed over for so long.
Right.
It's like such a great feeling, and it only makes me want to get back in the studio and like just run that fucking tank all the way to E of energy that I built up from that booking. So that's why I want to get on the road. That's why I want to tour. I want to meet people. Like, I feel like that's just going to be, it's such an exhausting experience doing that. Like a lot of regularly touring DJs struggle with that, where they've been on the road for so long that it takes so much out of them. They feel like they lose like sight of just being a fucking regular human when you're on planes all the time. And of course it's like first world problems, but I mean, really when that's your reality and you're playing shows, you know, 200 days out of the year, like that shit takes a lot out of you. But at least right now, before I've experienced that, that's what you seems like the most enticing thing that I could possibly get into.
Same here. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
That's how did you get, first of all, Prosecute, right?
Yeah.
How? Why?
Sounded cool.
Yeah.
It took me a while to think of a name. I went for CMAC for a long time, just as a DJ. CMAC, just is a stupid. My name's Campbell, so it was a play on CMAC with my last name McKim. So, everybody in Austin knew me as CMAC when I was doing hip hop shit and DJing here and there. And like when I played all those frat shows, I would be on the flyer as CMAC. It was
CMAC.
Yeah, it was never like a. I didn't like think of the name when I was like 13 and I was like, I'm going to be fucking Prosecute one day.
Yeah.
No, I mean, just for the kind of music I make, it's generally like pretty heavy and like violent.
That shit is wild, bro.
So like,
I was listening to it before we got on the show.
Yeah. I mean,
listen to it when I work out too, dude.
Really?
Yeah, no joke.
That's sick.
It hypes me up.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, it's like primal.
Yeah, it is.
There's like a, I try to chant, like I have this total tangent, but last few years my anxiety has been like really fucking terrible. Like,
yeah,
I think it's like a hereditary thing with my mom. She's kind of like a panic freak, and like I've been to the hospital a bunch of times when I'm having panic attacks thinking I'm fucking dying and shit, which is why I don't smoke weed anymore. But yeah, all I'm trying to say is like a lot of that is channeled into like the aggression that I try to put into the music, because it's kind of like a metal kind of like outlet type of thing where you know, there's times and places where I might throw in some nice melodies, and like there's definitely like fun parts of my set. Like I don't play the same song for too long.
Can't be all metal, right?
Yeah, quickly. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to fucking break people's eardrums, even though I do, but I want to, I don't know. I want people to have a great time.
Yeah.
And I'll throw in a lot of like hip hop and just like stupid like joke songs, like What Is Love, and like just stupid shit like that. And then like it's coupled with some like cool mosh pit fucking dubstep. So
that's exactly what people like, bro. That's
I try to keep it interesting, and like more importantly, like I have to be interested in what I'm playing. Like,
right.
I don't want to just be twiddling my thumbs on stage and like, cause like I could play. It's a big reason right now why I like my sets aren't completely my music,
right? Because
I feel like even though that's a huge goal that I have one day is to have enough music to be able to
full set.
Yeah, I want to do that. Like I want people to be like a huge influence for me is Sudden Death, who's just one of the killers in the scene right now, and his whole camp has been really helpful to me and kind of just like pat me on the ass and being like, hey, you know, you're doing the right shit, just keep at it, like
stick with it.
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
But like, for example, him, like half of his set is songs that aren't out yet. So like when you go to a sudden death show, like it's an experience. Like it's not going to be like hip hop or whatever playing. It's not like it's all within his lane of dubstep, which is like violent, like heavy shit. But just the fact that so much of it you've never heard before in your life,
That's pretty
and
dope.
you're hearing it in a live setting. Like there's a lot of shit that he keeps just for live shows, shit that'll never come out.
See, that's
a huge
the
goal.
Cool stuff. Yeah,
Because it's like it makes it special when he plays sets. You know, like when he comes to town, like people go there because it's like
can't get it anywhere else.
they love his music outside of it, yeah. But like just being able to hear, and there's a whole like ID culture of like, you know, fans will name songs.
Yes.
Just because they think they know. It's the same thing with like Cardi leaks and shit, where like people latch onto one snippet that they've heard, whether it's live or whatever, and then they make a whole like culture out of like trying to
I don't like that.
figure out what shit is.
That's like, I guess it's different for like singers, but like I hate it. Like, have you ever been to a concert? I'm sure you have, and the crowd starts singing the song. That makes me mad, bro, because I'm like, I'm here to hear them sing, not you guys. Like, I know you're fans, but
I think there's a time and a place.
Yes.
Like if it's like in dubstep, it works out pretty well because like the pre-drop vocals, like Excision is he's the fucking king of dubstep. Like he throws the biggest shows, like sells out the Tacoma Dome like in a day. Like it's a very it's a huge, like he's the pinnacle of dubstep and dubstep branding right now. A lot of his songs, like the pre-drops, just those 4 or 5 words that whatever the song's saying before the drop hits.
Oh
like,
my god!
Yeah, exactly. If everyone's yelling that at the same time,
that's pretty cool.
Then it all culminates together, like that's a really special thing.
That makes that experience. Yeah, that's pretty dope.
But I don't know. Yeah, I feel like there's time and a place. Like there's certain. I know what you mean.
Like
sometimes it's like there's some shit in I don't know if you've ever been to see like a house DJ play, and people have these fucking fans at festivals because like everyone's fanning themselves off and shit if it's outside, but they'll snap their fucking fans like to the beat, and it's like it's such a high pitched like snapping sound that it like you echoes. Hear it above the fucking
I don't like that
$100,000 speaker setup because it's just like it's like 10 feet away from you. It's like it's like the most annoying fucking thing on the planet.
I went to an Ed Sheeran concert a long time ago, but it was like when he was up and coming, so it was like a lot of
I could see how that environment would be annoying if people were singing it.
It's like
because like he's such an amazing vocalist.
Exactly, and you go there to watch him. You go there
to just be in awe.
Exactly,
and just like go somewhere in your head. But you got fucking 14-year-old girls that are like
screaming. And
yeah,
that's annoying.
I could totally see that. I feel like if I got to see like Drake or somebody too, it'd be the same shit.
Yeah,
where like maybe there's some moments where it's good, but like I would love to see Drake just sit on a fucking stool with like a vintage mic and just
be him. Just do his thing, right?
And just like sing it out and then just experience that. Mm-hmm. And like I don't know. I could see what you mean.
That's what's cool about comedy shows. It's like if you do that shit, then you're gonna get thrown out.
Right.
It's like first of all, you're
a spectator.
If somebody hasn't heard it, you're gonna ruin it, and nobody wants to hear you do the joke because it's like you're in the audience, you're a spectator, just like you said.
Right.
So that's whack, man. I can't stand that.
That's one really cool thing about comedy, where it's like the whole like no recording thing, and like that's a cool element of it, where it makes seeing people special. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's not like of course there's a million videos you can watch of material that's been posted online, but like that's anything. There's no relevant touring comic right now that's got any parts of their act up from the last like year and a half. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's always special when you go and see somebody.
Right. Everything online is what they want you to see.
Right. It's the same similarity with like I was talking about with sudden death, where like the shit that he's sitting on that he's made in the last 3-4 months is the shit that's going to excite people the most, and nobody knows what the fuck that is.
That's cool.
So it's like, yeah, that's the crazy element of the live shows that I like to get to. But like I said, for the time being, until I have enough music to do that with my own shit, I like to my sets are kind of all over the place.
That's good though.
Yeah.
That's good because you're working with what you have and you know your end goal. And so
Right.
it's like you have a goal in mind and you're just working towards it.
It's just a gradual process. The percentage slowly goes up of how many songs I can play in my sets that are mine and shit like that. So
that's sick, bro. What, so Prosecute, man, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because we've been going for a minute.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Get lost in it, man.
Yeah.
Get lost in
I could do it all night.
Where can people find you, man?
My Spotify's kind of lacking right now, but we're working on that. So I'm going to shoot everybody over to my SoundCloud. It's just Prosecute Music. Prosecute Music everywhere.
Prosecute Music.
Yeah, Twitter, Instagram. SoundCloud's mainly where all my traffic is right now. I distribute my releases now. I haven't put anything out in a couple months, but we're working on playlist placements and stuff that'll kind of
What are you specifically working on? Like what aspect of your Spotify are you wanting?
Just like I just have way more plays on my SoundCloud than I do on any other streaming platform. And part of that makes sense because SoundCloud is such a big platform for this kind of music. Spotify is getting up there now, and a lot of people are starting to consume their like bass music through Spotify now.
You have a good amount of views on a lot of your songs or streams. I was looking at it today, and
it's cool. I mean, it's crazy because like when you first start the project, you're like 100 plays. Well, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. But then like the more you get, the more you're accustomed to.
Okay.
So it's like you're only there's always a North Star. You know what I mean? Just where it's like that next ceiling of like, oh, I want to break 50K, 100K.
Right.
500,000 plays, and it's sick because I mean it's something to go after. But I feel I've been super grateful and thankful for shit working out the way it has so far, and it only motivate. Every time I scroll and see that anybody's enjoying my shit on Twitter or Instagram or SoundCloud, comments and just reposting my shit, that's like nothing but fuel,
dude. I love it, bro. It freaking gets me hyped. I used to do CrossFit back in high school, and we would listen to like dubstep and all sorts of electronic music, and like I kind of got used to it because that's not really my kind of music, but when I work out it just brings me to a different level. Yeah. So if you hear you in here, man, you know what it is.
Next time we gotta have like a whole health thing.
Okay. Yeah. For
Fitness.
Sure. Yeah, dude.
Meditation.
The cold plunge.
Yeah, you saw me in the fucking cold water the other day. I felt like a psychopath.
Dude.
The people, the neighbors across the street were like, had their dog trainer over.
Yeah.
And I'm just like in my fucking swimmies, like getting in my 150-gallon tub out front. But
we'll have you on again.
Yeah, we'll save it for next time.
Yeah, bro. Well, I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Absolutely, man.
Good to talk to you, man.
Cool.